Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blooms. Once again, thanks to David and Abel Sanford from Texas, who sent me this Whataburger shirt and a Texas hat. Today's just cool enough for me to wear a long sleeve. Anyway, as you guys know from Motherload 33, my buddy Bill Martini gave me these two edgers. Now, I've done lots of edger videos in my past, and my last two, I had a dickens of trying to sell them. I ended up selling them very cheap, perfectly running, good condition edgers for like $75. They don't sell very well here in Long Island. Mostly people don't bother with these big machines just to edge unless your property's like tremendous. People just take their weed whackers and flip it sideways and edge that way, you know what I mean? Not to mention the fact that so many electric things out there that edge very well for cheap. So as a result, I'm not even gonna bother with this old edger engine that has that type of pulsar jet type carburetor, which almost always requires a new diaphragm. So I don't want to go and spend money to fix something that old and not really going to be worth too much money. You're not going to get too much money for it. And they're a pain in my butt too. I hate them. But anyway, Bill doesn't mind what I do with it. So I had these two listed for 50 bucks together as a package, as is, not running. Tons of people ask me about it. I'm gonna go load it in my truck and meet this one guy who says he wants to pick it up for 50 bucks. Also, I was gonna go work on the snowmobile, but because today is such a beautiful day, why waste it being indoors? The snowmobile is parked in the inside of my garage. So I figured I'd try to tackle something that's more of a challenge for me. My last two fixes on lawn mowers, were very simple. One just needed a cable, and the other one was a little bit more, you know, interesting, but that eventually I got that fixed too, and that's my fix 2 lawnmowers in 1 day video. That was pretty interesting. This is a lot more in depth, and I'll tell you why. Well, first I got this from Bill without the rear wheel, so it was a pain in the butt to move around, so I put 2 more wheels on there. This comes with the bagger. This is the big self-propelled kind, which this fetches quite a lot of money. If this was in perfect condition, it'd be worth like $225, $250 if the key start worked, but I have no intention of getting the key start working. So I'll probably rip the key start off and check the motor and sell the motor on eBay, whatever. But it does appear to be missing both cables as well as a handle. So this one's more in depth. I have to look through my parts to get this together. Also, the dipstick reservoir on this engine was missing. So as a result, the entire engine was filled with water. So there's no oil in it, there's no water, there's no carburetor. It's missing almost the entire engine, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I think I have enough parts to put it together, you know what I mean? And that's the challenge, you know? And I don't even know if I have that cover for that. So it may not be a complete machine, to be honest with you, but instead of it sitting here not doing anything, I got to try to get it going, right? And I have all day to do it. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I'm going to load up those 2 machines and see if we can sell those 2 edgers for 50 bucks as is. So I just went to the back and I had a box of quantum parts that was from another blown engine that I just kept parts for. But then coming back to this one, I noticed right around that area where the intake is for the carburetor, and I noticed that there's a lot of oil in that area. And then I gripped the brake mechanism. Look, it has a head on, it has a spark plug in there. And I spun the flywheel with my hands. I don't feel any compression. There's a slight chance, actually maybe a big chance, that under there it's blown. So I think that's the reason why this engine was kind of looking like it was being taken apart for some reason. So I think maybe this engine's bad. So my putting it together would be a waste of time. But when I come back from selling those 2 things, we'll stick a screwdriver in and see if the connecting rod's blown. So as you guys saw from time lapse, guy knew exactly what he wanted. He says that he needs the gray one because he has the exact same one, and he needs the parts for it to fix. So he's super stoked for having it, and he's gonna try to fix the red one and make some money. Anyway, no fuss, no muss. 50 bucks. So thanks to Bill for the contribution to the channel. Okay, I'm back. Loosened the spark plug. I've clamped off this brake mechanism so the brake is not touching the flywheel, so I can easily spin it. Stick the screwdriver in here, and we turn this to see if it moves. This engine is done-ski! This engine is done-ski. There's a blown connecting rod. That was why all this stuff was here. So we have to rethink this all. So I've just changed into some dirty clothes or work clothes and got a bigger box because I have a feeling that our quantum parts is gonna get bigger, requiring a bigger box. So now we have no choice because I'm not gonna use this engine. I don't really have any more other engines other than the Honda motor that's on the power washer that Bill gave me. Have you guys ever seen this big type Craftsman with a Honda engine on it? I think I have. I think I might have longer adapters too. But first I'm gonna remove this engine. We're gonna take it all apart and put it in here for a future use. So here is a really unusual turn of events. And this has never happened to me before. When I took off the flywheel, just banged it, came right off, right? I noticed that there wasn't any key in the keyway. Then I didn't think too much of it, and I went ahead and dismantled the engine. After taking off the sump cover to the engine, I discovered that the connecting rod is indeed connected, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it is not a blown engine. Works just fine. It didn't, when I stuck the screwdriver in there, it didn't move because the flywheel turning it didn't have a key. So the flywheel was just turning and the crankshaft wasn't turning. So it just needed a key. So now I just took the whole damn thing apart. Inside was flooded with water because it didn't have a oil dipstick reservoir to prevent water from going into the engine. But I mean, looking inside, there's some sludge and stuff, but technically I could just put everything back together again and finish completing what the engine was missing. That would be kind of interesting. A lot of work, but kind of interesting for sure. And of course I blew the gaskets to the sump. I suppose I could just get some RTV silicone and make my own gasket. I don't know. What do you guys think I should do? I even took out the Honda engine on the power washer to get ready to put it on here. But I have all the parts to put together a quantum engine. There's no reason why I shouldn't, right? So you know what? That'll be interesting. I'm just going to put this whole engine together again. See if it fires up. Okay, so I got the old gaskets off, grinded it clean, sprayed it with some degreaser so that it's not oily. I used some assembly lube to lube around the moving parts. I got the camshaft in. Governor is laying right on the governor lever on the interior. The crankshaft cog or sprocket or gear is placed in the key. The dots, the one dot on the crank gear is matched with the camshaft notch. Cleaned out the sludge. This is very interesting. I believe this might be my first quantum build. I've never rebuilt a quantum. I've taken a whole bunch of them apart, but I've never actually put one together before. Most people won't because it's a lawnmower engine. You just pick them off the street, right? Why go through all this trouble? But I wanted to see if I could do it, and I know the engines very well, so it's been a while since I did an engine rebuild. Actually, this is not really a rebuild. It's just, well, actually it is. I'm putting parts together and building it from scratch, essentially. Hopefully I did it right. I'm going to put some RTV silicone. This is the red stuff I just bought. You put a light bead around it to take the place of the factory gasket that was obviously torn and rubbed off. And then I'll put the clamshells together and put the parts together. I believe this might be a primer bulb type engine with a key start, which is very unusual, but I don't see any air vane or stuff on it that looks like it's an auto choke. So it's good because I have the primer bulb parts. All right, I'll put you on time lapse to do the final assembly. So as you saw from time lapse, I put the sump cover on. The gasket seems to be very good. Lined up the cam as well as the governor to the lever. I put the linkage on here. I have an old carburetor, the primer kind. I need to find a gasket. I did find an O-ring. What else am I missing? I need some bolts for this. Remember, this didn't come with a carburetor, so I have to find one from scratch. Need the air filter base with the gasket here. I need the air filter cover. Need to put the magneto on, but I also found a cup. I didn't have a cup. Found a cup. Found a key. That's the most important part of it, right? Put the key in. I need a bolt. I don't have the nut that goes on top of that. I just don't know. Cleaned up the contacts to the magneto, getting ready to put that on. But I need to find that other stuff. I need a gasket for this. I have to go look around for some parts because remember, I didn't have any parts. It came less than that. I have to put that on. Put the gas lines. I mean, you know, it was fun. I'm having a good time, you know. It's just what I remembered, you know, putting together an engine. Sure hope it starts. But either way, it was fun. I found another box of auto choke stuff in the shed, and it comes with a muffler this time. We don't have a muffler on here either. Found the O-ring. I think these are the gaskets. I did find a nut for the cup. I'm just gonna see if I can put the rest of it together. Took me forever to find the right recoil starter. They're all cut in different shapes, patterns of the sides, the cutouts. You have to make sure you have the right one. Since I didn't have anything to go on, I had to try like 4 or 5 different ones. Finally got one that works well with a long rope, and this looks like it. I'm gonna finish up putting this together. How about that, fellas? Took apart a Quantum, put it back together again. It's a Franken mower for sure. Actually, this is a Franken engine because we didn't really put together the mower very much. It's still original as before, but I had to get a lot of parts from my other 2 boxes of Quantum parts to put this one together. It doesn't really kind of make any sense that this is a primer bulb type. Because it's a key start, it should be auto start, you know what I mean? It should be auto choke, but that's what it appears to be, you know. It's missing, at least it's missing the air vane and all that stuff. So I guess if you wanted to convert it to an auto choke, you could, but right now we'll just see if this thing works, you know what I mean? I got to put some Earl in it, and because it's primer, we're just going to shoot some stuff in there. I'm not going to put on the air base and all that stuff with the primer bulb yet, because I want to make sure it runs before we go through that, you know. So we'll put some oil in it, 10 ounces of SAE 30, and we'll spray some jism into the carburetor, see if it gets spark, and see if it runs. I put the blade back on along with the cover that had a belt guard to it. It was kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. But looks like we got it going on. I don't have a lever for the blade engagement, I'm sorry, the front propulsion. I don't have a handle for that. Also, I don't have any cables. I don't have a bail cable for this. You know, this one's busted, see? This one has nothing there. It's just sitting there like that. So I'm just gonna clamp it, you know, to disengage the brake from the flywheel and the magneto kill. And we'll just see if it starts up. What do you guys think? Make a wager right now. Leave it in the comments. I'm going to pause for a little bit. Leave it in the comments what you think. Did Henry rebuild this engine correctly? Will it fire up and run? God only knows. If it turns over, then we'll put some gas in it and see if it stays running. Okay, oil is in, oil's on the money. Now we're just gonna shoot some jism in there. Let's see if it starts up. Let's see if at least turns over. Hey, turned over. Now let's put some gas in it, see if it leaks. Okay, I just put gas in it, and also it didn't have one of those things. You know, those things. The thing that you use to guide the rope. So you know what's interesting? On this mower, there's only 2 places where they take 7/16 bolts. Try to guess which 2 places only takes 7/16 sizes. Anyway, it's this 7/16, and also the muffler bolts are 7/16. Nowhere else on this mower is it 7/16, at least on the engine. What do you guys think? You think it'll run? All right. Okay. We've got gas in. Let's see if it runs for a bit. Took me all afternoon to put together this engine. I know, it didn't really need to take it apart in the first place. Here we go. Huh. Oh, dum-de-dum-dum, doesn't work. Yeah, it kind of worked before, didn't it? Maybe I flooded it. I could have flooded it because it's warm. All right, I waited about 5 minutes, cleaned up a little bit. Maybe the spark plug's wet. I know it's never the spark plug. I'm gonna change it. So I've been sitting here thinking about it and thinking about it. Yes, it did kind of start for 1 or 2 revolutions, but it won't stay running, and even spraying it is not getting it to really whatever. We know we're getting spark because we did hear it go vroom a little, you know. I was thinking it was the governor. How inside, when you put the engine together, the governor sits right on the interior lever of the governor lever. What if I was putting the sump cover on and it moved and it's not touching it? So now the lever is not even touching the governor inside. Maybe. Also, when I put the new key in the keyway, it was a little loose. It wasn't really snug, you know what I mean? So that little bit could throw off the timing, and that's why it won't start. Either way, I can't get this mower to, we can't put this mower together to get it running because I don't have any cables for the whatever. I don't have a cover for this belt. I don't have the cable for the self-propulsion. I don't have the right cover, although I have this one. But it looks old, you know what I mean? It'll fit, but it looks old. So we couldn't get this one ready for sale anyway, so it'll stand on back burner. In the meantime, I did take off the auto start, the key start motor, and these sell for decent money on eBay. So I hooked it up to my jumper and see if it works. So it's a good motor. I'll put it on eBay, and that would be that. So we'll revisit this thing another time when I get maybe another mower that it won't work without an engine, but has all the cables and the cover and the right engine cover, and then maybe we'll take this apart again. Not the whole engine, but at least check the flywheel and see whether or not the key is properly in there so the timing will be right and all that. But this mower is not ready to sell anyway, so we'll just hold on to this in the backyard. But my experience today of taking a quantum engine apart and putting it together and trying to get this going, sort of a fail, but I mean, it feels right. Everything feels right, you know. But we'll just see what happens in the future. You guys remember this episode is Black Craftsman, the Key Start Craftsman. Let's see if we can get it going. As time goes on, we'll get the right parts for this thing, because you know Henry refuses to spend any money. I'll get these parts eventually, you know what I mean? In the meantime, I got plenty of other mowers in the backyard that I need to work on, and also I'm waiting for a nice yucky rainy day where it restricts me from being outside, which means I have to work inside, and then we'll try to get the snowmobile started. I'm really curious on how that's going to happen and if I could get the snowmobile started. But anyway, thanks a lot for joining me on this episode. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blows. See you.
guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.